I'm Sunny James. Joining me today is Jay Izzari and Ben Netz, and they are founders and owners of Chocolate City Beer. And I was fascinated. I kind of ran into Jay on the street and I said, that's a great story. So here I am, and I am in the brewery, if you will. This is Jay and this is Ben. So who's going to tell me how you got the name Chocolate City Beer?
Well, we were brewing in our backyard. That's how this whole endeavor started. Me and him were just friends. He was a brewer before and I was really interested in it. And so we bartended together and we talked about it for a while. Then we got the stuff in my backyard and then we were brewing for fun. And then I started drinking the beer that he was really putting together. You know, it was both our ideas, but as, you know, as a chef, he was putting the ingredients in perfect order and the beer was coming out great. And then we're like, wow, well, there's no DC microbrew. What's the nickname of DC? And Ben's from DC, born and raised. So I'm asking him, you know, what's the nickname of DC? And he's like, Chocolate City. And, you know, I'm from New Jersey, and I remember the Parliament album, and one thing led to another, and it seemed like homage to the city as well, because, you know, there's a lot about DC from the outside world making it the nation's capital, which it is, you know, a lot more government, but there's so many cool little neighborhoods in DC that kind of get overlooked the way people promote DC, so we wanted to do it the other way around and promote through the neighborhoods. Hence our name, Big Chair, for our first IPA is called Big Chair from the monument down in Anacostia. Actually, that's right where our first warehouse might have been. So one thing led to another, and then it seemed the most suitable name to come from DC throughout it.
Now, for those who don't know, explain what an IPA is.
It's an India Pale Ale. It's a very hoppy beer. It's pretty popular here in the United States of America. Okay. From coast to coast, everybody puts their good college try into it.
Okay. The recipe, Jay says, is yours. Mm-hmm. How long had you been a brewmaster?
I don't like the word brewmaster just because it implies mastery. And I think that anybody who's in any field is always learning. And so I prefer the term brewer, but I've been a brewer for going on 6 years now. Started basically as a home brewer, just brewing in my kitchen, and quit my job. Found out that Flying Dog was moving from Colorado to Frederick, Maryland, and called them up and said, do you guys need anybody? And they said, send us your resume. And 2 days later I had a job working at Flying Dog.
Explain that to me.
Well, in essence, like, this container is a dual purpose container. So under here is gonna hold, you know, 110 gallons of water. Okay. Now this, part of the reason we have that is so that it keeps this part of the machine warm. This is where basically we turn grain into beer. In essence, and the reason that this door has 2 screws on it is because there will be 300, 400 pounds of grain in here trying to push its way out. Okay. So basically, the process of brewing is you're taking basically malted grain, you're adding it to water, and the water reactivates the enzymes in the grain, and those enzymes turn all of the starch from the grain into sugar. And so that actually all happens in here. Okay. And then what we do is, there's slots in the bottom of this container. So what will happen is we'll be able to drain the liquid, the water that's mixed with the grain, that's now turned into a liquid that we call wort. Brewers call wort. It's crazy. Okay. So we'll drain that out into the kettle and we'll start to boil it. And then we'll start to caramelize the sugars and we'll put our hops in, and all the flavors will come together. And so then what happens is we cool down that boiled wort, take it out of this kettle, which, you know, right here. Okay. Take it out of this kettle, put it through a heat exchanger to cool it down, and pump it into a fermenter. Okay. And this is where that basically is sugary. it's basically like tea. It's like a very sweet barley tea at that point. So we put it in here where it mixes with yeast. Yeast eats the sugar and creates carbon dioxide and alcohol. Those are its 2 byproducts. And so this little arm here lets us lose all the pressure that we're creating from the yeast. And yeah, so this is where it turns into beer.
So how many machines do you have?
Well, we've got these 6 fermenters. We've got see, we got our kettle, our boiler, mash tun, ladder tun, bright tank, glycol tank. So 1, 2, 6 is 8, 9. We've got 10 major pieces. Our keg filler is still coming, so that'll be 11 major pieces of brewing equipment.
And what does this place sound like or look like when it is brewing beer? Is there a smell? Is there a sound?
You do smell, you know, the brewery smell of basically, you smell like bread.
It's almost like a bakery if you think about it. You know, yeast, grain, and water. Different outcomes, obviously.
Right. One makes you drunk and one makes you
full.
Okay, so you got a lot of equipment here. You are due to be up and running if things go well by early summer. And is Washington been, because I know you've been on a bit of a press junket, so has Washington been inviting to 2 white guys who want to call their beer, or who are calling their beer, Chocolate City? Tell me what the reception has been.
Well, I mean, I think so far people have had to take it from the initial knee-jerk of, whoa, these 2 white guys, and realize that, you know, we both live here. This is our home. We're in no way trying to take that name and use it in any way other than a positive name. It's almost like we're saying, well, this is DC's nickname, and we live here, and so this is kind of our nickname for our city, and we want to locate ourselves here. We could have called ourselves a million other different things. We thought about a million other names, and initially when we chose this name, I mean, we did get a lot of pushback. We got a lot of pushback, like I said, a lot of knee-jerk reaction. And then as people thought about it, as people let it kind of sit in their minds and started to realize that now there's 4 of us behind it. There's not just the 2 of us. We have 2 other major parts of our team. Both of those guys are black, so. But it gets a little authenticity. But I mean, as people started to realize they started to say, okay, well, these guys, you know, it's Jay and Ben. It's not. They're not trying to be. They're not trying to manipulate anything. They're not trying to turn anything any particular way. And it really is. We love Parliament, love Chocolate City, you know, and so that was another part of the whole, you know, the artistic foundation of. I mean, brewing is an art, and so there's an artistic foundation, and that was part of the process as well. It was kind of more of a communication of the location, the soul, the feel, than necessarily a geographical feature or a monument. So,
where do you want to be in a year?
In a year,
every bar. No, I mean, we're gonna have to grow at our pace. Of course, we plan to, but you know, we're gonna be kegging. We're gonna have some specialty bottles that we'll bottle by hand. Come fall, we'll probably do a cider, things like that. Where do we want to be in a year? We want to be a part of this city for good. But a year will definitely prove that we can stay.
5
you know.
years. Where do you want to be in 5 years?
5 years. I mean, we want to stay local because part of the reason to even have such an interest in breweries right now is that people are interested in local products. So where I want to be in 5 years, I want to be ordering hops instead of from California. I want to be ordering hops from Maryland. I want to be ordering hops from Virginia. I want to be getting grain from Pennsylvania, you know, as close as possible, because we want to reduce the impact that there is environmentally. So we want to reduce our environmental impact. We want to keep our regional flavor. You know, we don't necessarily need to be a nationwide beer. You know, we can certainly be in the district and around the district and have no problems with that. I mean, if there are options to go farther afield, then that's something that we're going to have to consider as the time goes on. But I mean, right now, that's a really hard thing to forecast. I mean, there are more breweries in the U.S. this year than there have been since 1900.
What is it? What do you think the reason for that is?
The reason is that, like I said, people are more interested in local products. People are willing to support, you know, the farmers who come to the farmers market. They're willing to support the pet shop that's down the street. They're more willing to support a local electronics store. And so people are willing to say, you know, we want beer that is from our local area. And even if it's not, you know, everybody's going to have their favorite beers because distribution still exists. So you're still going to have the beers that you like from California. You're still going to have the beers you like from Belgium. You're still going to have the beers you like from Germany. But having sort of your local, I mean, it's just returning back to neighborhood. It's just the sense of pride that we have brewing in our hometown
So our focus would be to have fun with it. Like our brands, we want them to be, we want them to taste well as be packaged well. We want to have, we want to be involved in the community. We want to have a good time. So, you know, we're going to throw a launch party, a DJ, you know, have people shake their tail feathers, have a good time. Want to be more than, yes, we want to be more than just the flavor of the beer. But that, I mean, when it's all said and done, that's paramount.
Okay.
The taste and quality of the beer.
How many people have asked you if you're going to have, you see it coming, right?
Chocolate beer.
Chocolate flavored beer. How many people have asked?
Everybody.
Not
really.
that I'm asking because I know better, but how many, do you get that all the time?
A lot. Not all the time, but a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so that was Ben and Jay of Chocolate City Beers. Make sure you keep an eye on them and the brewery here in the nation's capital. I think it's fabulous that there is a wonderful brewery with a little flavor of Chocolate City right here in the nation's capital. This is me, Sunny James, small voice in the nation's capital. James, thanks for joining me today. I have not had any beer. Hopefully I'll have some before the summer is over. Take a look and see if you can find Chocolate City Beer. The website is
ChocolateCityBeer.com.
ChocolateCityBeer.com. Keep an eye out for them. These guys are great, and I look forward to hearing from you. See you later.